Your brain is working against you. If you've ever struggled to focus, maybe felt overwhelmed by distractions, or wondered why you can't just make the money that you want, it's because your brain is actually wired for instant gratification and dopamine and not long-term success. And I know I was in the same position. I struggled with ADHD symptoms for years, barely able to focus for more than a couple minutes. When I rewired my brain, everything kind of changed for me. And now I can work for hours uninterrupted, which allows me to run multiple businesses, including my $50 million skincare company. So today I'm going to share with you guys the proven system to reset your brain for deep focus, discipline, and financial success. So let's dive right in. First, let's understand that your ability to focus is like a force multiplier for financial success. If you can increase your focus, you can double your productivity. Focus is the most underrated advantage in business and life. So now I want you guys to imagine there's three different people: person A, person B, person C. They all have the same units of time, 10 each. Person A has 2 units of focus, person B has 4 units of focus, and person C has 9 units of focus. Then in the end, person A has 20 units of production, person B has 40 units of production, and person C has 90 units of production. So as you can see, the problem isn't time, it's actually how you use it. And most people claim they work 10 to 12 hours a day, but very few can sustain deep, uninterrupted focus for even a fraction of that time. And even if you can increase your focus by 1 unit, you can double your efficiency. And this is the best place to gain a competitive advantage where everyone else is weak, because everyone today is just super distracted. So the question comes, how do you focus properly? Well, the key is to rewiring your brain with a few techniques that I found to work basically 100% of the time. But first, the reason you struggle to focus isn't because you're lazy, it's because your brain is addicted to artificial dopamine spikes. So you have 2 different types of dopamine. You have the artificial dopamine, which comes from social media, sugar, and gaming, and this causes like extreme spikes and crashes. Then you have natural dopamine activities like deep work, exercise, cold plunges, etc. But these have little spikes. And this is the biggest problem, because a lot of us have primed our minds to receive dopamine spikes from artificial events, which cause us to have huge spikes and huge crashes. And then people start the day by priming themselves with artificial dopamine through phone scrolling, caffeine, nicotine, checking their emails, checking their messages. And then this conditions the brain to resist deep work because it feels less stimulating in comparison. And so it's very hard to compete with these artificial dopamine spikes, because once you receive them, it's very hard to go back to do something like deep work, because your mind's now wanting to go for the massive, huge artificial spikes because it's so much more lucrative to the mind. So this is what I advise. Eliminate all artificial dopamine spikes, particularly in the morning. No phone, no messages, no email, no music, because you want your brain to get used to receiving dopamine from the tasks that are actually important to you, the ones that are going to move you forward in your life. And this is why I quit caffeine and nicotine, and I placed them with natural dopamine spikes like cold plunges or exercise, because I wanted my mind to consistently get dopamine from these natural sources. And the problem is when you have something like coffee or nicotine, then your mind has a reference point of a certain dopamine level that associates with the work. And that's why the second half of the day is brutal for some people, because it's looking for that same dopamine spike. It's having a reference point to have the mind wants to feel, and it's assigning it to the work you're doing. And if you're not fully caffeinated or you don't have the nicotine in your system at that time, at those levels, then the work becomes even harder to do. So by removing these artificial dopamine spikes, you can go from working 4 or 5 hours effectively to working 8 to 10 hours effectively, which then double, triple, or quadruple your income. And I always remember that before, this was a constant battle for me, trying to do deep work, particularly in the afternoons. And it was challenging because my mind would also gravitate towards these dopamine sources where it was more lucrative and just easier to get. So I think a lot of you guys think you're not motivated. That's not true. You're just getting motivated by the wrong things, and you can re-engineer and rewire your brain to get motivated by the right things. Next, it's important to know that you can't fix what you don't track. Most distractions are completely invisible. The more aware you are of these distractions, the easier you can actually manage them. And this reveals your biggest focus killers, and then allows you to systematically remove them. Because there's 2 different types of distractions. You have the internal distractions, that's like your thoughts and attention pulling you away. And you have external distractions, they're like your environmental interrupts. When I have a distraction tracker, I start to label things. If it's internal, I label the thoughts. It's worrying stuff, is it planning stuff, am I thinking about what I'm gonna do later on? And then also I label the environmental scans. Am I getting distracted by people in my environment, by different sounds? And when you start to label them, then you can start to categorize them, and then you can start to change them. Once you actually assign a label to it, you can you kind of push it away for the time being and get back to the work that you're doing. Because your environment also dictates your focus level. So it's crucial that you design it intentionally. So you want to optimize everything about your environment, including your workspace. A clean desk, no phone, strategic lighting, noise cancelling headphones, all to maximize focus, and also some clean air, obviously. So it's really important to both your physical and your internal work environments to be clean. Like not only the clutter-free and the lighting and noise control, but also in terms of your digital aspects. No multiple tabs open, no notifications, have distraction blockers like Freedom app, undistracted app, because you want to remove anything that's going to distract you. The moment you're distracted, you lose focus, and to get back to focus takes you maybe 10, 20 minutes. And if you get distracted 10 to 20 times a day, you're losing hours in that day. So make sure you set up a dedicated workspace, eliminate all digital clutter as well, and use these focus enhancing tools. So when you go to open your browser, you start fresh with a blank page. You're not looking at previous tabs before. You can use apps like Undistracted, which blocks news feeds on your Facebook, also on your YouTube, so you can focus on actually whatever you're watching without distractions of 10 other videos that are recommended. And then you can use apps like Freedom, which can disable things like WhatsApp or email till a time that you actually allow it to. Even today, I get stuck and I go back to try and check these things now and then because it's based on some sort of habit or my mind is trying to get that dopamine from those sources. But having it all blocked allows me to quickly redirect my focus back to what's more important. Don't leave it up to chance. It's easier to dodge the dragon than actually slay it. Next, you need to meditate to train your focus. Now, focus isn't something that you either have or don't have. It's literally a skill. You can develop it like anything else. So I avoided meditation for years because I thought it was all about stress management, stress relief, until I realized it was actually the best tool for building focus, and I would make more money if I could meditate longer. Because meditation strengthens your attention span. Like lifting weights builds muscle, the longer you can actually meditate, the longer you can actually focus. So I advise starting just 5 minutes a day with breath-focused meditation and gradually increasing to 20 minutes, meaning that focus on your breath, and as soon as your mind gets distracted, pull it back to your breath. It's as simple as that. Don't overcomplicate it. And now that we've gone over a few important techniques to rewire your brain and improve your focus, now let's focus on the 2 highest leverage things that you can do for focus for hours at a time and never get distracted. And first, most people think that they can juggle multiple things at once, but multitasking is scientifically proven to destroy your ability to think deeply and work efficiently. Like Stanford University found that chronic multitaskers perform worse on a cognitive task compared to those who focus on one task at a time, despite believing that they're actually more productive by doing multiple things, because it decreases your memory retention. Chronic multitaskers have the worst working memory, meaning that they can process information less effectively than others. How would that actually impact your work? And then also you have increased mental fatigue. So splitting your attention across multiple tasks leads to higher mental exhaustion and also decision fatigue. So not only will you become more efficient without multitasking, but you will be able to do it longer as it requires less mental fatigue. So multitasking is not only super inefficient, but also rewires your brain to crave that constant stimulation, making deep work almost impossible because you're consistently context switching. How you do one thing is how you do everything. And if you're constantly multitasking in every area of your life, your personal life, as well as your business life, don't expect to suddenly become a focused machine when you sit down to work. Because the truth is, you've trained your brain to be distracted. Just think about it. Can you, cook a meal without listening to some music or a podcast? Can you go to the toilet without bringing your phone with you? Maybe even watch Netflix without checking your phone or messages or WhatsApp. Can you go for a run without your favorite playlist? Like, just think about it. All the times in your day that you cannot even single task and you're multitasking. And then we expect to sit down at work and have our brains focus. It's not how it goes. That's not how it works. So to truly master focus, you need to become obsessed with single tasking in all areas of your life. This now might sound extreme, but remember, the future is going to belong to those people who can actually focus the longest. It's your biggest competitive advantage. Multitasking is ruining your brain. Stop doing it. Then finally, mastering focus isn't just about willpower. It's about understanding when your brain is naturally primed for deep work and using that to your actual advantage. So what you want to do is structure your work days into 2 different phases. Mornings for deep work, that's what I call maker time, and then afternoons for maintenance tasks and admin tasks. That's called maintenance time. Because when you start checking your messages in the morning and your emails, you'll kill your deep work. You shift your brain to being in reactive mode. So by avoiding the messages and emails for the first maybe 6 hours a day, then you will be more efficient. And also then you want to do is actually batch all the different tasks and activities that you do based on the energy, meaning that I have all my meetings on a Tuesday because my energy is primed for meetings by speaking to people, and I can go from meeting to meeting to meeting. I'm not context switching. If I'm filming content, I save the content filming for one day. If I'm writing, I save the writing for one day. It's important to match your energy with the activities, so that allows you to enable you to focus on a deeper level because you're consistently doing the same tasks over and over again during that day and not context switching. If you like this video, check out how I made $50 million in under 3 years.